like I said, Dillian Whyte and his team will be working to what he has to do now, clear his name and make sure he convinces everybody who thinks he's guilty that he's not. And we live in an age where you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. Right now I think he's guilty until proven innocent. So that's his job, to make sure that, effectively he's fighting for his boxing.
Not if you're going to put on a pair of gloves and get inside that square circle and physically fight somebody, and potentially you could easily lose your life, then to take anything which will give you enhance your performance, it's just wrong in my book.
A penalty, a heavy penalty, like a life ban, for instance. So people will think not just once, not just twice, they'll think 10 times before that. If you and I was doing something we thought we're going to get a life ban and our career will be taken away, you're going to think twice before doing it. Yeah, and I think there should be a heavy penalty. I don't think the penalty.
We've just got to keep our mind on the job in hand and crack on. But yeah, I'm a bit shocked to hear.
The boxing world has been rocked to its core as fresh steroid allegations erupt against Dillian Whyte, casting a shadow over his highly anticipated clash with Moses Itauma. What should have been a classic showdown between a young, hungry contender and a battle-hardened veteran has spiraled into a scandal that threatens not only Whyte's career, but the entire...
Thrown at him, and with everything that's happening in boxing right now, he will be the one that will be made an example of. They'll make an example.
Integrity of the sport itself. If the accusations prove true, they're not just another blemish on Whyte's troubled record, they're a permanent stain. Against a clean, disciplined, and laser-focused warrior like Moses Itauma, the optics couldn't be worse. Instead of hype and anticipation, the fight...
Fucking hell, cheating bastard. That's the initial reaction. Whether it's a first fail or a third fail, that's the initial reaction. Your gut reaction is. But then obviously we don't know what he's failed for yet, and we don't know what it is. But then when it's somebody that's failed 3 times, or this is the third adverse reaction.
Fight buildup is now dominated by suspicion, frustration, and a growing demand for decisive action. The contrast between the two camps has never been sharper. Itauma, the embodiment of hard work and purity. Whyte scrambling under the shadow of yet another performance-enhancing drug storm. Veteran trainer Dave
strikes you out. I mean, we've crucified some people, some fighters for popping one time, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? And Dillian should be no different, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what the situation is, but, to be caught 3 times and, just to paint the narrative that they do, you know what I'm saying? It's a bad...
Dave Coldwell doesn't mince words, calling Whyte a cheating bastard, and he's far from alone. Across social media, boxing gyms, podcasts, and television panels, the sentiment is unified. Enough is enough. The outrage isn't just coming from anonymous trolls, it's coming from fighters, coaches, and respected analysts who have...
Then you got caught out, then you do it again. It can't be contamination, can it? Because he'd been caught twice for doing the same thing. So if it was me, take his license away. Because you cannot cheat in the sport.
Run out of patience. Heavyweight contender Michael Hunter, visibly fed up, has joined the chorus of condemnation. To him, the matter is simple. 3 failed tests speak louder than any public relations spin. Fans and fighters alike are done playing the wait for the investigation game. Former world champion Duke McKenzie takes it even further. This isn't, as he says, some lab mistake.
He's been failed 2 previous drug tests. The second one, he was exonerated. So let's not jump to conclusions. But it's not good for him, and it's not good for...
Failure might be contamination. 2 is a pattern. 3, that's a career defined by suspicion. McKenzie isn't whispering, he's echoing what fans have been screaming online: take his license. In a sport where lives are literally on the line, there's no place for chemical shortcuts. Even Colin Hart, one of boxing's most respected and fair-minded journalists, can't defend Whyte's situation. While acknowledging one of the tests was cleared, Hart points out the obvious. The cloud still hangs heavy and the optics are devastating. Across forums, Whyte is being relentlessly roasted, damaging not only his image but the sport's credibility. And with Moses Itauma's star rising rapidly, the timing couldn't be worse for Whyte. Promoter Eddie Hearn is in damage control mode, trying to protect the brand and salvage the fight. But the reality...
Dillian Whyte and his team will be working to what he has to do now, clear his name and make sure he convinces everybody who thinks he's guilty that he's not. And you know, we live in an age where you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. Right now I think he's guilty until proven innocent. So that's his job, to make sure that, you know...
He is brutal in the court of public opinion. Whyte is already guilty. Legal technicalities mean little to fans who have lost faith. Hearn may be trying to hold the narrative together with duct tape, but the damage is done. A steroid scandal this close to a major fight isn't just a distraction, it's a career killer. And as outspoken pundit Simon Jordan would surely point out, no amount of spin can hide the truth. In boxing, reputation is everything. And once it's gone, there's no getting it back. Simon Jordan isn't swayed by PR spin. 2 failed drug tests and people are still debating innocence? That's laughable, he says. Jordan cuts through the noise, voicing what many think but won't say. If it smells dirty, it probably is. Even without an official ban, the stink of suspicion doesn't wash off. Fans aren't just skeptical, they're angry. Spencer Oliver stands firmly alongside Jordan, calling for an uncompromising stance. Fail a drug test and you're done. No second chances, no excuses. He reminds everyone that boxing isn't...
But the idea, what he is he's able to fight. The idea that he is cleared beyond any reproach is for the birds.
Oh, I disagree. I mean, we're never going to agree on it. We're never going to agree on it.
Well,
but
you
when
guys
you
probably
don't
would.
receive a
You
fine,
guys probably
when
wouldn't
you
agree
don't
on it.
receive a ban, when you are cleared and not... The reality is, he has not been found guilty.
Right.
Football. There are no substitutions here. Fighters are risking their lives. If someone's juicing, it's not just cheating. It's potentially lethal. Oliver's warning is clear. Leniency has created repeat offenders who feel untouchable, and that culture needs to end. For much of the boxing world, Whyte isn't seen as a threat to Moses Itauma anymore. He's a liability. A man clinging to relevance with the help of chemistry. While Itauma grinds away in the gym, Whyte is fighting for clean headlines and losing. Johnny Nelson adds his voice, sounding equal parts confused and disappointed. He draws parallels to the chaos of Conor Benn's drug scandal. 1 minute, breaking news. The next, silence and spin. Nelson's frustration runs deep, rooted in the lack of transparency and the drip feed of selective information that leaves fans feeling manipulated. In his view, delays only deepen suspicion. Meanwhile, Moses Itauma has become the poster child for discipline, pure focus, zero drama.
I've always been strong on that. I've always been strong on the fact that I don't believe in giving them a second chance.
You're basically saying, no 3 strikes and you're out.
No 3 strikes.
2 strikes and you're out. No. 1, you fail the test and gone ski.
Absolutely, because I just believe then that moving forward, people would think twice about doing it. If they think, well, you know what, I'll get a second chance.
Every moment Whyte spends in crisis mode, Itauma spends perfecting his craft. The contrast couldn't be more damning. Daniel Dubois keeps it short and brutal. Drug cheats need to step aside, period. His no-nonsense stance echoes through gyms everywhere. Why should someone using banned substances share a ring, and the risks with a fighter who's doing it the hard way? Dubois speaks for the early risers, the road warriors, the grinders who build their bodies through sweat, not shortcuts. Even outside the boxing world, voices are chiming in. Joe Rogan, with his trademark blend of humor and hard truth, notes that redemption stories don't erase shady track records. Boxing, more than any other sport, remembers. Fail a PED test and you carry that label for life. No amount of spiritual awakening or media rehabilitation can scrub it clean. Itauma's rise is even more impressive given the backdrop. He's doing it.
What drugs you take, it doesn't make you a better fighter. It might make you stronger, it might make you fit. It doesn't make you a better fighter, and that's proof. You know, so until
clean, focused, and free from distraction. The polar opposite of Whyte's chaotic camp. When they meet in the ring, the narrative will write itself. Purity versus controversy. Duke McKenzie doubles down, repeating his call to strip Whyte's license. Throw them out, he says of drug cheats. In a sport where fatalities happen, adding chemical danger is unforgivable. Even with clean fighters, boxing is dangerous enough. Trainer Don Charles shifts the spotlight toward the governing bodies. If drug use is rampant, he argues, the blame isn't solely on the fighters, it's also on weak-handed regulators who hand out laughable fines and short suspensions. If those substances were in Whyte's system, it's not forgivable. Charles says bluntly, fighters like Itauma
doing that sort of thing. So, drug cheats need to, they need to step aside and let real fighters fight.
Sacrifice everything for their craft. They shouldn't have to share the stage with cheats. Charles's frustration mirrors that of fans who have grown tired of seeing the same offenders return with little consequence. The solution, he says, is simple: raise the stakes. Right now, suspensions are treated like paid vacations. But if the punishment truly threatened a fighter's career, PED use would plummet overnight. And Charles isn't alone. Across the sport, the calls are growing louder. Enough wrist slaps, enough PR spin. Protect the fighters, protect the sport. Because every time a scandal like this erupts, it's not just one career on the line, it's the credibility of boxing itself. Don Charles isn't just talking about YT, he's talking about the culture boxing has created. A culture where a fighter with multiple failed tests can still headline major events. What message does that send to the next generation? That you can cheat, get caught, serve a short ban, and then waltz right back into the spotlight? It's the complete opposite of what the
two-sided story there. He got off PEDs, and he also found Jesus Christ. So he stopped going to strip clubs, he stopped hanging out with girls, but he stopped having fun. And then got serious about Jesus and got knocked the fuck out. Take them
sport should represent the hard road, the right road, the one built on discipline, sacrifice, and integrity. This fight is no longer just about fists, it's about legacy, pride, and truth. Moses Itauma stands as the face of boxing's future, young, clean, and dangerously focused. YT's name, meanwhile, is buried under suspicion, controversy, and questions that won't disappear. With respected voices from Duke McKenzie to Don Charles, calling out the drug use, the pressure on YT has never been greater. If Moses wins, it's not just a victory in the ring, it's a win for every clean athlete who fights the right way. But if YT somehow pulls off the upset despite the baggage, what message does that send? Can fans truly cheer for a fighter clouded by scandal? Will sponsors stand by a man whose name is synonymous with controversy? These questions hang over the fight like a storm cloud. This bout has become a referendum on the sport's values. Do we want clean, disciplined athletes who earn every advantage through sweat and sacrifice?
If it was me, take his license away. You know, because you cannot cheat in the sport of boxing. Not if you're going to put on a pair of gloves and get inside that square circle and physically fight somebody, and potentially you could easily lose your life.
Or are we willing to accept a future where chemical shortcuts are part of the game? When the bell rings, the spotlight will be as much on the symbolism as on the action. Itauma represents the promise of a new generation, a future built on hard work and respect for the craft. YT represents the temptations and moral hazards that have plagued boxing for decades. The gloves will go on, but so will the questions: who is mentally stronger, who truly wants it more, and who, when the lights are brightest, can walk the walk without a chemical crutch. We know where we stand. We're backing Moses Itauma all the way. The future of the sport, the clean fighter in a dirty era. But the beauty and the curse of boxing is that the ring doesn't lie. It will tell the truth on fight night. Now it's your turn. Are you riding with the future, or do you believe YT can somehow redeem himself? The clock is ticking. The world is watching. And the answers are coming.
How redeem himself.
I mean, this is very unforgiving. You can't. I'm sorry. Provided he's been found, it's 100% that those substances were found in his system. It's unforgiving. And you know what? I blame the governing bodies, because I don't believe that they imposing heavy enough fines.
The clock is ticking. The world is watching, and the answers are coming.